the negotiation process? Because you've said the conversation with government has been like a conversation between the deaf and the dumb, and it's trying to force the hand of government in meeting its own demands. Is that the situation here?
All right, I lost him there, but we will attempt to reestablish connection. And when we do, we'll just get him to respond to some of the other matters. But remember, the comment out there from the Minister of Education is that they made some recommendations to, is it recommendations? Yeah, an offer to ASUU, only for them 3 weeks ago, she said, and then they were waiting for ASUU to get back to them, and then to hear that they had embarked on this indefinite strike, which ASUU did say they embarked on that immediately. And so, those who were asking that, when they're supposed to have given this 2 weeks notice, but the arguments will always, different perspectives on that particular one. But as we speak, and you heard, ASUU at the moment is on an indefinite strike, waiting again, perhaps for the Minister of Education or Labour to wade into this one and see how they can sort that out. Yesterday, we looked at the Polytechnics, and then the Senior Staff Association of Nigerian Polytechnics also joining in that strike, and who knows what will just happen next. But we'll just keep attempting to reestablish connection with Nasir Issa-Fagee, who is the National President of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. In the meantime, you can keep your questions and comments coming through to us here on Sunrise Daily, and we'll always be glad to share them. But the
last that we heard was that the NUC, National Universities Commission, was also acquiring foul on this particular matter. And it's very important to establish, what the process was, or what the process has been, and why ASUU would embark on an indefinite strike action with immediate effect. Those words are very strong. That's usually, right. That with the unions, they will have a process. And is it that, somehow, somewhere, government is shown that it's not willing to meet the terms of the agreement? It is very sad that you're talking about an agreement that was, agreed upon in 2009, and this is 2013, almost 4 years after, and it doesn't seem like much progress has been made in terms of the agreement, Richard. And it's very important also to get the side of government. It's very hard to get the side of government, but it will be very interesting to get the side of government, considering that we've spoken to, we spoke to, was it Sanip yesterday, talking about how they've reached how many agreements, and it's taken how many years? Have we been able to establish
we have Issa-Fagee back on the line. Well, what do you say to those who say that ASUU didn't even go through the process of giving that notice before you embark on indefinite strike, which was immediate?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
You embarked on this strike indefinitely and immediately. But there are those who wonder. They say ASUU usually gives this notice, say 2 week notice, or is it 14-day notice, or thereabout. What's the position with that this time?
Yeah, well, we give notice when it is a fresh action. This is an action that was suspended in 2012. So we are just resuming that action.
What specifically? Okay, sorry, just hold on.
I was going to ask you, is ASUU not, considering the fact that the federal government is faced with quite a number of things to handle, why put extra pressure on them?
Quite a number of things to handle? Like what? Hello?
Your demand, you're asking for 9 things, and they've done 2. What else do you want them to do that you cannot bear them waiting on?
Okay, if you want me to give you a rundown of the items, I will give you. 1, funding requirements for the revitalization of Nigerian universities. On this, we agreed under that MOU with government that in 2012, federal government will make available to Nigerian universities 100 billion naira. Extra budgetary. The purpose of that is to immediately commence the revitalization of the system. And this is because what was seen in terms of the decay and rot in the system requires that we declare a Marshall Plan for the universities. In fact, we are thinking that there may be a need for us to declare a state of emergency in our education sector. But that, in spite of the fact that we have the needs assessment report and there are recommendations on what needs to be done to address the problem, government is still dilly-dallying towards implementing that report. The second one is federal government assistance to state universities. Government has not made any commitment on that. The only thing they said they will do is that when they are implementing the needs assessment report, state universities will also be affected. The establishment of NUPEMCO, that is Nigerian University Pension Management Company, is something that has been on for a very long time. On that, the government keeps saying that the process is about to be concluded, but it has not been concluded yet.
Yeah, before you move on to the next point, Nasir, yes. Aren't state universities, are the states not responsible for state universities? Why would you be asking the federal government to intervene in some way?
Yeah, we took that into consideration, bearing in mind that education is on the concurrent list. But we said that these universities are also accredited by the National Universities Commission. And the fact that there are some aspects of education that federal government can assist, because in the overall interests of Nigerian people, the system should be working in tandem, because when you are attended to by a doctor, for instance, you don't ask the doctor which university do you graduate from, federal or state university.
But it's a federal system.
Allow him to attend to you. So when we reasoned with government accepted that yes, there will be the need to assist in some ways. Not that government will take over, the funding of state universities. No, but federal government will assist in things like municipal services, provision of water, electricity, and then if there are roads to be constructed in the states, federal government can extend this construction to maybe half a kilometer or 1 kilometer within a state university. That is the input of that decision, and government accepted that.
What if the government says that, well, we will look into these matters, we will meet you at the point of your demands, but if you don't work, we won't pay you? What would you do?
You said what?
What if the government says, we'll look into your demands and meet them as much as we can, but if you don't work, we can't pay if you don't work?
If you don't pay, we don't work.
And if you don't work, they don't pay?
Yeah, if we don't pay, we don't work.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you talked about 100 billion naira which you asked the federal government to set aside. According to the MOU you signed...
Sorry, correction, we didn't ask federal government to set that money aside. Federal government offered to set that money aside. You have not allowed me to land. Aside from that immediate intervention, federal government almost also promised to make available 400 billion naira annually for the next 3 years, which means that for 2013, that is this year, 400 billion naira will be made available. Likewise for 2014 and 2015.
For what?
Now that we have not even
what's the 400 billion naira for?
Accessing the 100 billion naira, what is likely to happen to the remaining 400 billion naira for 3 years that was promised?
What was the 400 billion naira for?
For the revitalization of the system. Have you ever
And none
seen
of
the
this
needs
funds.
assessment report?
Could you come again, please?
Were you able to look at the needs assessment report?
You have disagreements about it with the government too?
Sorry, you didn't hear me?
Do you have points of disagreement?
Were you able to look at the needs assessment report?
Do you have issues with the needs assessment report?
No, I'm asking you because I want to know whether you have the full apprehension of the situation in our universities.
Well, you go ahead and say if you do, because we have all the documents with us, but what specifically, what else would you want? Because we have Muhedi here saying, I think ASUU is putting so much on the table, they should give government a window to meet their demand in piecemeal. That's what the viewer just sent in now.
After waiting for 4 years.
So at the moment, you don't intend calling off the strike except government meets your demand. Is that the case?
You said?
Do you plan calling off the strike or suspending it at any point in time, and on what condition?
Yeah, well, the strike can only be suspended if the issues on the table are addressed.
All of it or a certain percentage?
That will be left for our members to decide.
All right, then. Nasir Issa-Fagee, National President of Academic Staff Union of Universities. Thank you for speaking with us today on Sunrise Daily.
Thank you very much, Senator.
We're back after this. Don't go away, please.